had this bizarre thing recently where I was wondering, do I have cancer in my ribs? And I have got a broken rib apparently, and it's a re-break from an old break, but when did I break it? It was really confusing. Now, in actual fact, this all happened around the time of my last video where I started finding out there was something wrong in my rib, with my rib, in that area. I didn't know. So this is going back. So the previous video about my results where I said that I had a pretty good scan. There was one spot in the lungs that had cancer growing. Now, I shared in my last video what I was thinking at the time, which was I had the one spot in my lungs showing cancer activity. However, in the same appointment, he had talked immediately about my ribs. And then he had said I had a broken rib. Now, this was quite a shock. And then he said, oh, but it's from an old break. And my brain started fixating on this. I'll talk about this later. And I kind of forgot that he'd mentioned the rib in the first place. And then later I was going, oh, do I have cancer there or not? So I waited, and I didn't really tell very many people about my scan results. I didn't share it here on my platform because I was just so confused. So I wanted to wait till a scan came out. So this is what happened. I went in the morning, booked a PET scan, came back, got a PIC scan, and then I'll tell you what happened later in the video. So stay tuned. Everything is still unfolding, so please like and subscribe. Can I just say, there's been a few, this week, not so many, but the week before that, there's been a few more subscribers trickling in. Can I just say how excited I am? Every time a new subscriber comes, I do a little happy dance. So please do subscribe because I just really value you being here. But anyway, let's go on and find out about this rib situation. It was very confusing at the time. I am going to go in and get my PIC taken out. I'm a bit nervous about this. So back in the car, I don't know why I'm flushed. Anyway, as I was in the hospital, I started feeling flushed, but my temperature was fine beforehand. Oops, just knocked something over. I said that I was nervous about getting this out. It's not out. It's back in, and I've actually got to be somewhere else right now, but I thought I would just do sun's in the wrong spot there, a raw reaction video because it's probably a long story, but I just had confirmed that I've got cancer in my ribs. And I didn't pick it up when I had seen my doctor. It was probably 2 weeks ago now. And he had mentioned something about my ribs and a broken rib. And I just, my brain just fixated on the broken rib bit. But I didn't understand he was talking about that there's cancer in my ribs because he said FDG, but when you get a scan, you get the report. The doctor gets the report and you don't get to read the report. They keep, this is what they do with Queensland X-ray anyway. It seems like some people I watch over in America, they get the scan reports instantly, which would have been far preferable in this case because I didn't have the report. And when I got home, I said to Alex, why was he talking about the rib? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to wait until the report to find out what this business with the rib was. So finally, I got the report. I thought the report was yesterday. No, it said today's date. I went to get on it this morning. No, it was 9:56 a.m. and I was trying to get on it at 7:30 a.m. So finally I got onto the report and read it, and then it said something about FDG, and I'm like, they're saying FDG uptake whenever they're talking about cancer, so that must be cancer. And it just happened that I ran into my doctor in the waiting room, and then I mentioned about the pain, and then he was like, hang on, and started talking to me, and then ringing radiation, because he's like, well, if you're in pain, we need to start thinking about what to do next. So anyway, whoops, sorry about that. Nothing's decided until I see the radiation oncologist next Tuesday. But I knew I had more cancer in my lungs. More cancer in rib and lungs is far more concerning, because they're all just crowing about how it's a great scan result. I'm like, how can you think it's a great scan result if it's grown in two places, one place where it's never grown before? I don't understand. Okay, I'll digest this more later, but I've really got to get to my next appointment. Well, after my last message, can I just say how nice it is with the different cancer charities that are out there? I've come out of the doctors feeling very, probably discouraged, because it just don't seem to, like, you get good news and then it's accompanied with bad news. But anyway, I went from there. The appointment that I needed to get to was over at Hope Horizons, which is a wellness centre that's set up for cancer patients in Toowoomba. And so I just had reflexology done on my feet by the lovely Diane, which is just so lovely. And it's relaxing, but then I just find it helps with other areas of my body, and it's all completely free. It's run by the charity of others and donations, and so it was just nice to go from such a horrible medical appointment, and it's not a medical appointment, but it's still a cancer related appointment, but for a cancer related appointment it's just so lovely, and you just kind of feel encouraged and cared for. So for all the cancer charities that are out there, thank you for all the good work that you're doing. I, as a cancer patient, just really appreciate everybody's good work out there, and I know that there's all types of stuff that's happening for cancer patients all over the globe, and it's just beautiful when people pressed it off. It's just beautiful when people can care for one another. Oh, if you follow this channel regularly, had you noticed that I didn't have any head thing on? As I'm just been editing it and putting in the little explanations all to tie in the videos. I looked over the one that I just did and went, oh, here I am. I've got hair growing again. And instead of doing it all nicely and having my hair and makeup done, well, not that I can do my hair, but anyway, it's the end of the day. And I don't have makeup on. I'm tired, so I've probably got bags and everything. And I'm just trying to film this video so I can put it out there, because it just seems to be dragging on forever, and I just feel like I needed to update you on what was happening. So I just sat down and started talking, and then when I was editing the video, I'm like, oh, this is the big hair reveal in a very ordinary way. So this is just me, ordinary, at the end of the day. Just remade my bed, so bedspread isn't even on. I've just put flannelette sheets on because it's getting colder here. Although, on the other hand, I've got a short sleeve shirt on because I was just starting to get hot. And, well, in the cold countries, I'm convo-coasting. I do this. In cold countries, I know when I lived in London, we wore short sleeve shirts on all the time. However, in Queensland, we've got lovely weather and the sun came out in the middle of the day. But then when the sun goes down, we don't have good heating like in the cold countries and we freeze. So normally I have lots of clothing on. Anyway, I digress. Yes, so I just wanted to make this video for you and fill you in on everything. So I kind of had that moment in the car where I'm thinking, oh, and my doctor had rung up my radiation oncologist and he kind of was, well, not panicking, but it almost felt like a panic. And she was just like, hey, I'm seeing you next Tuesday. We can wait 5 days. So, yes, then I've got a bit of waiting to do. Of course, doing waiting, and I still have to do hospital things. So I still have to pop up and book a PET scan and do stuff. And in the meantime, I had a child that was really sick, and a whole heap of people were really sick at the time. Well, probably still, there are bugs going around everywhere. Turned out that he had, I'm going to get the name wrong, like myopic pneumonia. So it's kind of like a precursor to pneumonia, or it can develop into pneumonia, or it is maybe a bit of pneumonia, I'm not sure. But he was really, really ill. So this is the same son that had come home from camp, and then he kind of went back to school, and then he just went downhill. And he ended up having, I don't know, almost a week and a half off school before he was right to go back. But in the meantime, whooping cough had been doing the rounds. And even though he's vaccinated, we all know that vaccinated kids can sometimes pick up these diseases when it's really going through the community. But luckily, he didn't, and it was something different, and he is much better now. Anyway, we'll go and watch what I did next. Just booked another PET scan. Had to change things suddenly and make it after 6 weeks, not 2 months. I just had a really rough night. I've got a lot of pain under my arm and in my upper back now. It's been in my lower. I really don't think the cancer's behaving itself, and I'm feeling pretty discouraged. I've got my son in the car. We've just had pest control, so we just left the house and let all the chemicals settle down. We're waiting for a whooping cough result. In fact, nope, that was nothing. Whooping cough result for him. And yeah, things are not happy. Now, I did say in there that I had to change the PET scan, and originally in the previous video there was going to be a 2-month wait before I got another PET scan, and then I went and saw my specialist in Brisbane and he said I'd like it to be 6 weeks. And that video of me booking in the PET was after that. But just for context, there was actually probably these videos that I'm showing you now were probably 3 weeks after that. So it was kind of that halfway point in between having my last PET scan that I spoke in my last video about and having my next PET scan. So I was right in the middle of all of that. And so I went and booked my PET scan, and then I had my appointment with my radiation oncologist. Now, I have looked everywhere because I did do another live reaction video like that last one, only this one was so much happier because I found out, yes, I had a broken rib, but it was not cancer. And I kept quizzing her and saying, but I've got the scan report says FDG uptake. And she said, well, you had a broken rib. So the FDG uptake is, well, could very well be the inflammation around breaking your rib. Now, I don't know how I broke my rib. I was in pain and quite a lot of pain, and I thought that probably the cancer was acting up. But yes, I am very familiar with pain. So when I have pain, I just keeping on. And that's what I had been doing. I was still confused about them saying that this was based on an old break, because I thought, I can't remember when I've broken my ribs, until I thought, when I had my back surgery to get my rods put in for scoliosis, which is also when they discovered this cancer. Go back to my very first video to find out all about that if you're not familiar with my story. They had broken 3 or 4 ribs to get into my spine. So I thought, that must be it. So I said to my radiation oncologist, would those have been the breaks from the surgeon? And she said, no, they weren't surgery breaks, because surgery breaks are a lot cleaner and they heal quicker. She said, no, it was most likely from radiation that you received back in 2020. Sometimes when you receive radiation around that chest area, one of the unfortunate side effects is your ribs breaking. And back in 2020, I hadn't realized that I'd broken a rib either. So I can't even remember back then. I was traveling down to Brisbane every day for that stereotactic radiation. I can remember being a little bit uncomfortable at some point, so that must have been it. But yeah, I just keep on going when I've got broken ribs, as it seems. By the way, I have got cold as I've been editing. Do you realize it really takes a long time to get this done, which is why I'm really playing catch up here. So as I said, like and subscribe, because the story is still going. But I think I've gone twists and bends. What am I up to? So I think I've told you, haven't I? I've told you. It wasn't cancer in my bones, because I was starting to think from when I talked to my radiation oncologist, there must be cancer in my ribs, like in the bones. There was no cancer in the bones. She was very confident that it was not in the bones. And like the active spot that was on my lungs, she said both of these spots with the increased FDG, it could be nothing, and we need to wait for that next scan, which was only going to be 6 weeks away, which she was happy with also. So I had that all booked. The video that I made you that somehow has got lost was just me being so jubilant. I was just so happy that all I had was a broken rib. Because a broken rib you can heal from, whereas if it was a broken rib and cancer, now that was going to be a lot harder to go on from there. So that night, my auntie had bought me a champagne. I hardly drink at all these days, but I had this champagne sitting in my fridge. So I sent her a picture and said, I've got a broken rib and I'm having a champagne to celebrate, because it was broken rib and not cancer. And it just I was just so happy. So, yep, that's what's happening now. Salmon.
The champagne.
And I was thinking of cracking open the champagne that Auntie Marielle gave me to celebrate only having a broken rib, not cancer and a broken rib.
Oh, it was a broken rib?
Yeah.
What?
Well, it was...
What are you recording?
Why not?
How long have you been there for? Just...
I was trying to zoom into Dad's face, but then Amy moved it.
That's what I was trying to do before, and you told me to just pull it.
Oh, it should have opened.
You're cutting out Dad's face, bro.
Yeah, get everybody in the photo.
It's not.
No, you don't have to
Makes his forehead look less big.
Yes.
No, don't.
try to get silly angles.
Come on.
How's this silly?
You're always moving and moving out, making it look really bad.
Oh, when it's on mute.
When's your children?
Did you want to open it?
Happy New Year.
Every time.
Trent, see? That Trent.
Trying.
You cut out all the emotion.
No, I'd already shown the emotion.
You hadn't. The smiling faces with the big bit and you zoomed in for nothing.
No. Oh, you're such a whingy, like,
Plus,
sucky.
you're on a phone.
Thanks for getting to the end of that story about the whole rib situation. I really need to upload this now and get to bed. It kind of uploads overnight, takes forever because I've got rural internet, which is really slow. So thank you so much for getting to the end. Please hit the bell if you want to hear when the next video comes. And once again, subscribe if you aren't already subscribed to my channel. If you've got to the end of a video, I'm sure that you'll enjoy more videos. So thank you so much for all your love and support. So grateful for you all. Good night for me. Good morning, good day, wherever you are. Bye.